Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Superior Shields, a mod that adds in some very interesting and different styles of survival tactics. But before we jump in, I feel I should thank one of my patrons. Thank you very much, Monkey1357. Now let's get in here and get this going. This mod is made by EpicSquid. It's one of my friends, actually. And this is quite confusing looking with all the weird stuff that I have set up, but it's really basic. No, it doesn't just add an extra health meter. If ever you've played the game Borderlands, or even Halo, you might be familiar with, like, down here, you get like a little shield option. You get you install some kind of item on yourself, in this case a shield, and it will allow you a certain measure of defense. In this case, it does kind of give you like these little bubbles down here. I've got these little gem-looking things. These represent kind of like an extra heart in a way. But that's not all that this can do. Each of these will have different properties and abilities. Some of them might explode. Some of them might make things float. Others might, well, just recharge really fast. But yeah, they all basically do the same thing. They help protect you in some way, shape, or form. And there's a lot of compatibility. It's set up to work with vanilla Minecraft, but it's also set to work with a lot of other mods, including Botania, Industrial Foregoing, Nature's Aura, Thermal Foundation, which is pretty much any of the thermal stuff, Undereye IO, and even a whole bunch of different Undereye IO compat options. And it might even work a little bit with Astral Sorcery. So let's start off with the basics. We've got vanilla Minecraft here, right? Now I currently have this set up kind of in a visual way so that you can best understand what's going on. You can make your most basic wooden primitive shield. And yes, you can hold this in your hand if you want it. It's not really going to actually do anything. You need to have baubles installed, which adds in this extra area here, and you can place it on your little like metal or charm slot. That's where it works. Now, vanilla has a durability, but they are also enchantable, where most of the others are not, except for maybe in some way that just kind of changes their appearance or something. But also, the items, once you've placed them on yourself, if you look here at the beginning, I believe I raised my hands up like this, you can see I have one on my side. So once you've equipped it, it does have a visual representation. Now, with this in mind, we can continue on. The recipe for this basic wooden primitive shield is just some wood and a stick. You're like, wait a minute, Valen, this is ridiculous. You get 1 hit point that recharges every 5 seconds, and it'll recharge at a very slow rate, 0.2 health per second. So it is so minuscule. All you're basically doing is buying yourself 1 extra heart every now and again, and it only has a very minor amount of durability. So it's not really that cheaty. Now here, the beetroots I have in line here are representing the amount of health that each different shield will grant you. These here, the fire charges, they're going to represent the recharge delay. How long it takes before your little shields start to recharge at all. Which therefore, if they're not recharging, you're not gaining any extra health benefits or protections. And then, of course, you've got your recharge rate. How fast these things will start charging on their little bubbles down here, the little shield bubbles. So with that in mind, basically you're going to want, I put these little arrows to represent, you want a higher value for beats, which is your health, how many hit points goes up. Remember, you have 2 hit points per heart. And then, of course, you want a lower recharge speed or delay, how long it takes before it recharges, and you want a faster rate which with it will recharge. And then I added this down here just for representation that something special happens. So basically you're seeing here the wooden one, you get 1 hit point, the stone you get 3, iron you get 6, and so on, and it can keep going up. And it's like, oh my gosh, an obsidian magic shield, what? You get 12 extra health, that's 6 hearts, right? Well, it also will recharge. It won't start recharging for 5 seconds, so if you're in the heat of battle or something, you can't take any hits for 5 whole seconds. But then once it does, it also recharges very slowly, basically like 1/3 of a health per second. So it's going to be a very, very slow regen, like a health regen 1 of a sort. But you also have to wait 5 seconds for that to take effect. So all this basically does is this grants you like 6 extra hit points that will very, very slowly recharge. That doesn't require any kind of food options. Now, if you continue on, you might see here like the gold magic shield. This one here is actually one of my favorites because it has such a low recharge delay, 1 second, and it recharges 2 hit points per second once it recharges. Now it only has a couple, like 4 health worth, but that means that in battle, if you can break away for 1 second, you'll have regained yourself some health on the shield itself to be able to survive further attacks. Now, it depends on how you really want to go with this, and each of these different other categories are all going to vary considerably. But remember, you can enchant these, like with Unbreaking or Mending and so on, and therefore make them last longer or be more effective. So, yeah, you got an Ender Magic Shield here. This one here is probably my favorite. I'm going to demonstrate some of the special abilities. If you look on here, it actually says the shield capacity is 10 hit points, which gives you 5 hearts. Recharge delay after 4 seconds, it will start charging. And then it'll recharge at half a health per second. But it also has an extra ability. Makes nearby enemies float when it's depleted. Which means if I equip this, now you're going to have to wait a few seconds for it to actually start charging up. Like I said, it'll take 4 seconds or so for it to start doing so. And I've got a Volunteer over here, but he's got this stone above him so he doesn't escape. But I also have a couple little Volunteers down here, and therefore I now have a little bit of damage being taken from the cactus. And once this happens, my shield will deplete, and special effects will happen. Once it's depleted and I start taking normal damage, there you go. Everybody gets floated, and they also get their the glow effect triggered as well. So it's a really good tactic when your shield gets blasted out of existence. It gives you quite a few seconds, as you notice by the time they fell back down to earth there, that my shield was already recharging. So that can be really, really strong and beneficial. Each of these has their own respective recipes. I mean, the first two are really, really cheap, but they give you very minimal extra anything. The Iron Magic Shield gives you a little bit more because you use a redstone torch. Gold Magic Shield, you basically are putting redstone torches in the middle of everything. And then, of course, your Emerald, and the one that I'm currently wearing now, the Ender Magic Shield, is end stone with a shulker shell for that super special effect, which totally is, in my mind, very thematically appropriate for making things float with those shulkers. So, I have other stuff. Let's take a look at some of the combat options that you have. So if you have Industrial Foregoing installed as well, you'll have options for some of these. Which, actually, here, I forgot, Botania was first on my list. Let's check out the Botania ones. So, with the Mana Steel Shield, it's pretty cool. You get your Terra Steel Shield, which, here, I'll even show you. It requires a Mana Diamond, of course. Terra Steel requires a Mana Tablet and 4 Terra Steel. It does get you a decent bonus there. And Elementium one requires Dragonstone, Elementium, and Dreamwood Twigs. All things that are appropriate for Botania. They don't have any special effects, but they are all very useful. Now, if you get into, as I was saying here, Industrial Foregoing, then you have a couple other options as well. A Meat Shield and a Pink Slime Energy Shield. These are, in my mind, a little bit more funny than anything, but the Meat Shield is actually really, really handy. If you notice here, I will grab this. It gives you 5 extra health. It recharge delay is 9 seconds. Here, let me put this on right now because it's going to take a while for that thing to actually start charging. And then it's going to have, it recharges relatively okay. It's not the fastest, but it's more meant to keep your health up as well. So in this case, you can see it is now starting to charge up. And if I start getting hit by something, let's start with the cactus in this case, and I have extra armor due to astral sorcery levels that I'm currently using, so just ignore that. Once this happens, you notice that my food started going up and my saturation maxed out. That's because that is the advantage of the Meat Shield. It will, on occasion, automatically feed you when you get hit. So it's some of these side effects are really, really interesting. Now this one here, Pink Slime Energy Shield, if I put this one on, allow me to get this one charging, and I'll show you the effect it has. And before I do that, actually the Meat Shield's requirement is a meat feeder plus a bunch of plastic and some range add-ons here. And then your the one that I just equipped, the Pink Slime Energy Shield, requires plastic, some pink slime ingots, and an energy field add-on. And of course, these are all going to, in some ways, require energy. In this case, this one does as well. But it is currently recharging, and if I start taking damage, there's a chance that as I'm taking damage, I might start spawning a slime. And there you go. You can see now that a pink slime has just spawned. Got my own pet little pink slime buddy here that isn't actually going to hurt me because it's too small. But that's the idea. I mean, you get this massive boost of shield capacity. Now, it does take a while for it to recharge, but you also may end up spawning some of these guys. And of course, if you fight them like you normally would, they may end up having some kind of drop that you might be able to get as well, like a little pink slime piece. There we go. Just got some pink slime. Cool. So that's just one of the benefits of that one. So let's move on to another one. Now, recently I covered Nature's Aura. Yes, there is compat in here for Nature's Aura, and it's really, really cool. You've got your infused iron shield, which is, standard stuff. It's not too bad. And then you've got your Shield of the Skies, which requires some gold leaf, Spirit of Calling, and Ingots of the Skies. And these are really, really cool, if only because this one, the Shield of the Skies, has an extra benefit. I really like these. This is still potentially in development and may have more compats or add-ons or changes in the future. But for now, and this is for all of these up here, not just the one. But the infused iron shield, of course, gets you a moderate amount of health, recharges after 10 seconds, and recharges half a hit point per second. This one here is much higher shield capacity, same recharge delay, and it recharges a little bit faster, but it also knocks nearby mobs away when it's depleted. But this also requires an aura cache. So whereas this one here, now let's grab the meat shield because it's actually got a little bit of energy has been used in it. It will require to be charged. As you can see there, I just put it in a wired charger from Undereye IO. The Nature's Aura version requires an aura cache that has aura stored in it. And of course, you don't necessarily have to have that on you, but they will work in different slots. There you go. And of course, it will take a little bit of time because this one has a delay of 10 seconds before it starts to charge. So I have a couple spiders here. I'm going to just poke one of them. And as they start injuring me, they will end up depleting my shields. And then when that happens, they get knocked away. Now, it's not a huge knock away, or knockback effect. But it is effective enough that these guys, there we go, can be knocked further from you, and you are probably alerted to the fact that your shield has just run out. Now, in the past, there was actually a glitch where it would knock them into oblivion, but that was a little bit too strong. So it does have a bit of a knockback effect. It's really cool. And it's very protective in that case. I mean, heck, it gives you a lot of protection as it is. But let's get into the thermal foundation stuff. There are two styles. There's your standard flux shields, and then there's your Flux Nova shields, which are a little bit different. Your flux shields are basically, you're straight up going to give you health, going to recharge, and that's about it. So they're very straightforward, very powerful though. I mean, look, a recharge delay is 0.3 seconds with its shield capacity of 15, but it doesn't recharge the health very fast. But the shield can be up for a very long amount of time because of how fast it comes back, like a third of a second. Now, if you come over to these Flux Nova shields, you've got your Pyrotheum, Cryotheum, Aerotheum, and your Petrotheum versions. Each one has a different effect, as you might expect. A Pyrotheum will give basically a Fire Nova effect. You've got this one, which will give kind of a slowing effect. You've got your Aerotheum, which will give kind of a blindness effect. And then you've got your Petrotheum, which weakens nearby attackers. And each of these is when they are depleted. So if I were to go over here and I let this Volunteer start smacking me until my shield depletes, then he'll get hit by some kind of Fire Nova. There we go. Now, sadly, he hit me at the same time he was on fire, and I caught on fire too. But you get the idea. It's basically just going to do a fire effect when the shield depletes. And of course, with the Cryotheum, it's going to give a slowing effect, Aerotheum blindness, and of course, this one here weakens the attacks of nearby mobs. So they're basically going to have difficulty in injuring you on that one. So that one can be very beneficial too. Now let's move on to the Undereye IO. Now for those that don't know, the maker of this mod is also a mod dev of Undereye IO, so therefore naturally it's going to have lots of options to choose from. Now it's got two different styles. You've got, I guess, two different styles of each two different types. So you've got your dark steel and your end steel versions. As you progress through. Actually, I realize now I did not show you any of the recipes for these. The flux shields are more or less like most of the flux items in thermal series. The flux one, you've got your basic stuff with the tool casing. Then you go up to the next one, requires the previous level, and you upgrade it. The previous level, upgrade it, and so on with each different one. Now, if you go with the flux Nova shields and stuff, they require flux shield hardened of each type because they are basically a slight upgrade from that. And that's how you can get those beneficial effects on each of those. Now to get back to Undereye IO, you've got your dark steel versions, which require some really basic stuff, and then your end steel versions, which actually require basic stuff, but the end steel is the issue in this one. It's going to be a little bit, more to get that because those require a bit of end stone in order to make, which usually means you have to have gone to the end. Now the dark steel though is the way that you can go without that, and each one allows you to just go up a different level using different types of alloys to level up your items, as well as increasing the capacitors in each style. But yeah, the Solarium Energy Shield is the one that adds in some extra option there where it will speed up the wear once it's depleted, giving you kind of a speed boost. Now, if we go over to the Undereye IO Compat styles, these ones will take advantage of Endergy, the mod Endergy. If you have not already checked it out, you should. It's a very endgame mod for Undereye IO, and it adds in some of the other items. If you notice here on the top there, it says Energetic Silver. So it says Energetic Silver as well, Vivid Alloy, Crystalline Alloy, Melodic Alloy, and these are all different things, as well as your Stellar, of course, which is very strong stuff. And each of these is going to be just using some items. Your Silver, if you will, is not typically in Undereye IO. It's usually in other mods. So therefore, it's kind of a mod with cross-compatibility that also works with other mod compatibilities. Kind of crazy, I know. And then, of course, you've got your end steel versions, dark steel versions as well, with your vivid alloys, and your crystalline, and so on. Now, of course, you've got your stellar energy shield. It's pretty darn strong, 20 extra health, which gives you a whole extra health bar equivalent. Recharges after 1 second, a recharge rate of 2 health per second, which is really, really strong. But keep in mind that that's also going to be really, really expensive with stellar alloy ingots and capacitors. Each of those is going to be made with like nether stars and melodic alloys, which are also made from popped chorus and end steel. So this is a very, very endgame styled item, but these are all pretty much styled in that way as it is because it's part of a mod add-on that is for very, very endgame stuff. And each of these all require power except for the Britannia ones, the Britannia ones require a tablet with mana in it. Your natural aura version or nature's aura version will require an aura cache. And of course, your vanilla Minecraft just uses durability and can be enchanted, unlike most of the others. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this bit by bit on this wonderful new mod. It has been around for a little bit. We've been playing it on DevCraft. It's a lot of fun. And don't be afraid to give a shout out to EpicSquid, mod maker extraordinaire. And I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget, we stream on Twitch most nights around 10 p.m. We'll see you then.